Morning. Let's talk about hookups and why it seems so easy for guys to rail and bail, why so many women want to wait to have sex. And before I do that, I'm not going to talk about what other people do. I'm going to talk about what I do and what I hear my friends say. I know there are women who can just fucking leave, and I know that there are men who want a deep emotional connection or a relationship before they have sex. So, my experience talking with women is men can just have sex with us and leave. And therefore, most women will want to date a guy 3, 4, 5 times to make sure he really likes her before she has sex with him. Okay, that's a big reason. And so, I will share my experience. So, my experience is that guys can just fuck me and think nothing of it. That's my experience. Now, I find this very puzzling because I know they like the sex. I'm pretty passionate. I'm really fun. I've got a great body. I invite them to my home. I have a nice home. It's quiet. It's cozy. It's a great space for us to hang out. So, I mean, I'm an escort too. Guys like, I have repeat clients. Like, I'm nice. I'm fun in bed. So it has nothing to do with me, I don't go off on them. I'm sober, so there's nothing that I do that would be insulting, rude, um, condescending, bitchy. I don't do anything like that. So there isn't any obvious reason to me as to why a gentleman wouldn't want to follow up with me and come over again. All right. And I'm pretty attentive in bed to what they like to do. Now, as to me, why would I, for example, not want to have sex again with a guy that was just a hookup buddy? I'll tell you the scenarios under which I would not invite a guy back to be a hookup buddy. He makes he makes it all about his dick. It's all about his dick. That's it. So I'm a no. That would be a no. So if you read my book, The Fuck List, right after my divorce, I made a list of every guy I had sex with, if he was an A, B, or C. And then if I wanted to have sex again, I'd go look at my list and I would call the A's. Well, they usually didn't reply to me. Then I would think about the B's. I was never going to call the C's. So the A's were guys that were really passionate with me. I guess I kind of liked them. Maybe I made them a 10 in my mind, or they were really passionate with me, to be honest. The C's were all about their dicks. That's it. Or the way they touched me was very mechanical. I remember one gentleman who wanted to just like do the yoni massage. So he's sitting there at my feet. Like, I need some passion and some kissing. I never blew off a guy who was an A. He wanted to see me, I would be down to see him. But I would say for a lot of guys, I'm sure I had to be an A or a B at least. Right? They would just be done. Like, I'm done. Just like I've had guys say before, why can't women just have sex? Just have sex. It's fun. Why does it have to be like this repeat thing or whatever? So with me knowing that about myself, I'm not going to do the friends with benefits anymore. I don't think so. I might, just to test myself to see if I can do it. But I don't know. I'm not so convinced that that's good for me. I'm not so convinced what I get out of it, because if I like sex with a guy, I want to have it again and again, even if I don't want a relationship with him. Which brings me to the other point of kindness. Like, I'm a kind person and I like to be kind to people. I'm not a rescuer. I don't like to be around people who are like victims or want to be rescued. However, I do like to be kind to people, and sometimes when people are not feeling well or something, I'm compassionate. That's why I like to do the free coaching. But here's the thing about being kind with you guys, is that kindness, which is like a very open, heart-centered quality, it's limitless. Like, love is kind of limitless. Like, it just flows, right? It's open. And the world is, we live in a polarity world. So love alone, I think, is not enough. We have to have containment. We have to have boundaries. We have to have a channel for that love, because otherwise people abuse it. And that's what the second thing I wanted to say. I'm merging two videos here because I have two different thoughts. Like me just inviting somebody over, just being nice to him, having sex with him, opening myself to him. That's all love. That came from love and wanting to connect, okay? Just human to human love. Not, I didn't want to marry this guy. It's just an act of love. I invite him over, let's say this last guy. You know what? Let me know what you like to drink or whatever, because I feel like I have a guest in my home. Like that was me just wanting to be loving and wanting to connect, which is a great human quality. The problem is whether your tendency is to be with narcissists or men who are abusive or men who will blow you off, like what happens with me. What I choose is that we have to have boundaries around that love. We have to have boundaries and standards. Like this is how you have to treat me, and these are the people who I will let into my life, because it's a polarity world. We have to learn both. We have to have both. We can't just love everyone, because the world, like, I don't know, I wish we could. I wish we could just be loving and kind to everyone. But life somehow doesn't work that way. We have to have standards and boundaries around that too, the containment. So love is this open flowing thing, and the boundaries are the containment. What I expect of you, what you have to do. And also I think as those of us who want to be like really like kind and empathetic and compassionate, I'm going to just say that I think that I have to be more demanding. I have to be more demanding too. You know, I have to be more demanding. Ask for more things, screen people more, ask more questions, and be willing to just cast people out instead of having sympathy and compassion for the person who doesn't get to have me. Ask some questions. Ask some questions. And if that person doesn't pass the test, that's just letting them know they have some work to do to be equally compassionate and kind and not use people. There are a lot of people who are really wounded that just use people, or they don't, they run away, they hide, like they're wounded. And so I think that we just have to let them know they have work to do. And the only way they're going to know is if we ask them questions and they can't pass what is you call the test or whatever. Especially if you're just like in dating and hooking up. Like those of you who got married 20 years ago are not going to relate. The world has changed a lot. It used to be that people met so much in the workplace. The workplace is kind of like so many people are now working from home. And social interactions have declined significantly. More and more people are online and interacting online. And that is causing a lot of teenage depression, by the way. Facebook knows about this. They don't give a shit. Because people are comparing themselves to what they see online. They're spending a lot of time online. And maybe our social skills are dwindling. I don't know what it is, but I have some single friends from my age and older, like gorgeous women, and they saying that, you know, they might meet a guy, go on a few dates, and he'll like ghost them because there's so many other women to pick from online. There's so many women to pick from. So it used to be that people, if they didn't see as much option, they would try to keep dating one person, get to know that person, and work things out with that person. But now it's like, oh, I can try other things. So maybe we're losing our ability to be relational as well. But I'm sure this rail and bail type of situation has always existed. I'm just saying that for me, I don't like it. and I will not get myself into that situation again. I will not get myself into a rail and bail situation again. And the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is that lovingness is good, and it requires boundaries. It requires boundaries because you and I have an obligation to take care of ourselves. So also, if you have family members who are not loving and kind and respectful, spouses, how are you showing up and how are they treating you? Like, we all deserve to be treated with love and respect and care. And if we're not, it's our fault for staying in those relationships or creating those relationships. So I'm just sharing with you guys stuff that I'm learning, and that's all. Thanks for watching my video.